magazine, again, was a very important thing for Garvey. It really brought him into the mainstream of what was happening in the anti-colonial world. Yes?
Question of the land base as a nation of people. What was Garvey's solution as a land base in this country? Whether it need to go to Liberia, I believe it was, or to establish a land base in this country? What was his view on establishing a land base?
But he clearly wanted to establish a base in Liberia. And there were many reasons for this. For one thing, Liberia was relatively accessible, as opposed to Ethiopia, the other independent country, which was over on the other side of Africa, in the east. Liberia was, on the western side, so not that far from this country, really. A modern ship, I'm not sure how long it takes a modern ship, but a modern ship could probably get to Liberia in a couple of weeks at the most, I would imagine. Right. So Liberia was accessible. Liberia also had a history. In fact, Liberia was founded in the first place as a refuge for African Americans, ex-slaves during slavery times, who wanted to go back. And Liberia had enshrined in its constitution the fact that it was open to other folks who wanted to come back. So Liberia was an obvious place, for Garvey to look at. In fact, not long before Garvey's time, the Liberians were in this country encouraging immigrants to come back over. Also, the Liberian electorate was very small. Unfortunately, the so-called American Liberians who went over there after slavery in this country became a kind of an elite, and they monopolized political power. And so Garvey was very popular among the native Africans, and there was a suspicion that if Garvey went over there, that once he established himself, he might very well be able to seek political power in Liberia itself. There was a possibility that within a few years, Garvey could have found himself the president of Liberia. And that is one of the main reasons why the Liberians became so upset and afraid and changed their minds about letting him in. Because they realized that he was so popular not only among the elite, but also among the indigenous Africans, that he might have upset the political balance. The whole electorate, the people who voted for presidents and stuff, numbered only about 5,000. And Garvey was talking about bringing 20 or 30,000, not people, but families, into Liberia. So in one fell swoop, Garvey would have had by far the majority of voters behind him in Liberia. And Lord knows what could have happened if Garvey had gone to Liberia and set up shop and become president of Liberia. The whole history of Africa would have been very different. Yeah. Yes.
Garvey was pretty young when he died. Was it of natural causes?
Well, as far as we know, Garvey suffered a couple of strokes. No one never knows what happened behind the scenes, but officially he suffered a stroke, which greatly weakened him. In fact, a false report went out after the first stroke that he was dead. He wasn't. Then about 2 or 3 months later, he had a second series of strokes and he died. But the official cause is strokes. Yeah.
Are you a native?
No, I'm not a native Jamaican. I'm from Trinidad. Yeah.
So you said you had not heard about the Garvey family in the early 20s?
That's right.
So they never taught you, are there any type of Marcus Garvey monuments in Trinidad?
A couple of years ago, some brothers who I know put up a statue, but historically there has been none. And Trinidad has the third highest number of branches of Garvey's movement, after the States. The third highest, it was Cuba, then Panama, then Trinidad. So the Garvey movement was deeply entrenched in Trinidad. There were more branches of Garvey's movement in Trinidad than in Jamaica, Garvey's own homeland. And yet I grew up never hearing of Garvey. But the interesting thing is that once I discovered Garvey and began researching Garvey, then at that point, when I went back and began talking to the old people and asking them, then, oh yes, everybody had a story to tell me. But the fact is that it was not in our school curriculum, and people just never mentioned it in those days. Even my own father told me he knew about Garvey, but I never heard him mention Garvey as a kid for him. Yeah. Okay, Garvey's relations with his mother and father. Garvey seems to have had a somewhat stormy relation with his father. There's a story that when he was a youth, Garvey, I think as a little kid, stoned the windows of a church or something, or broke the windows, the kinds of things that kids often do. And apparently they wanted to put him in some kind of a reformatory or something, or unless the parents paid the fine. And apparently the father was a very stern disciplinarian and said, well, he did wrong, let him go to the reformatory or something. But his mother, the story goes, paid the fine, and so he was saved that fate. That's one story. was told. He was very close to his mother, however. He was very, very close to his mother. He left St. Anne's Bay, the small town where he grew up when he was about 16 years old, and moved to Kingston, the capital city of Jamaica, and he took his mother with him. I'm not sure if the mother and father were separated or what, but I don't know what the situation was at that time with the father. The father was still alive, but he took his mother with him to Kingston. She eventually died in Kingston when she was living there with him. He was very, very close to her, and he has written in more than one place, of the saintly nature of his mother and so on. So he was very close to her, but had a somewhat strained relation with his father. When his father died, by the way, he was in this country, and Garvey apparently sent somebody back to Jamaica to have his father buried properly. Yeah, we were talking about this at lunch today, as a matter of fact, and I believe that the greatest problem I think besetting Garvey was a problem that he had little control over. The fact that he was operating in an alien environment, the fact that he didn't have the authority to punish those members of his own organization who went out of line. And this is the reason I believe why he tried to go to Liberia, where he could possibly have had state power on his side. Because Garvey was operating in a situation here where the state was against him. So, there were cases where Garvey took people to court who had, say, stolen money or whatnot from the Black Star Line. But the judges, didn't punish them. There was one case where the judge fined the person $1 or something. Because it wasn't in the interest of the state to protect Garvey's organization. So I think this was a major weakness, but one not of Garvey's doing. Because Garvey was trying to build a nation, but he was still within somebody else's nation and subject to their state power. I think Garvey had the right ideas, but it's really a problem. In fact, many black communities have the same problem today, problems of drugs and what have you, lawlessness in the black community. Black folk still today, in many instances, don't have the power to police their own community. But that power has been taken from us very often. There's a limit to which a Garvey, can punish somebody within his own organization. He can expel them, but beyond that, what does he do? Does he take them to the court? What does he do? He doesn't have the power to really seriously put them in jail, fine them, the kinds of things that need to be done in some situations. So that seems to me the great problem. And above all the forces that Garvey faced, the hostile forces, I think the only force that really made, in the final analysis, a real difference in terms of finally getting Garvey to relinquish his grip on our community was the power of the state power. I don't think the communists or the NAACP or anybody else would have prevailed upon Garvey. I think it was state power. It took the organized power of the entire state, the full and total power of the state, mobilized in a very conscious way against Garvey to eventually weaken his grip on our community. Thank you very much.
For a book signing, and we also like to extend an invitation to everyone for every Sunday morning for worship service here at the Shrines of the Black Madonna at 11:15. Thank you very much.